You don't live here anymore. That's what Martha Stone screamed at me, right to my face, standing smack in the middle of my family's land, surrounded by a forest of bright orange trespassing signs she'd hammered into every tree, every fence post, anything that didn't move. 3 years. I was gone 3 years caring for my mother while she faded away from Alzheimer's, and somehow that gave this walking, talking nightmare of a bureaucrat the idea she could claim my family's cabin as her personal project. Picture this: every inch of my dad's land blanketed in red tape and paperwork, Martha, with her clipboard brandishing it like a weapon, barking orders at county workers like she owned the whole mountain. I thought I was coming home to mourn in peace. Yeah, right? Instead, I walked straight into a circus. If you've ever had a neighbor from hell, trust me, you're about to feel seen. The road up to the cabin hadn't changed a bit. Still wound through the pines, sharp turns, every bump and bend burned into my memory from a lifetime of family drives. I had Mom's ashes riding shotgun, just this simple wooden urn, the one we picked out together before the disease really took her. My plan was simple: scatter her ashes at the old bridge where she and Dad had their first date, clean out the cabin, maybe try to remember what peace even felt like. Should have known plans don't survive real life. That cabin looked like it was holding its breath, waiting for me, all weathered wood memories built into every board. Dad put it up himself back in the 70s. Mom used to joke he loved the cabin more than modern civilization. And standing there, I could see why: no cell towers, no traffic, just wind in the trees and the creek whispering in the background. I pulled up the gravel drive expecting to feel home. Instead, I got sucker punched. Orange signs everywhere. Not just 1 or 2 dozens. Property preservation notice, unauthorized access prohibited, safety hazard, do not enter. Signs nailed to trees, stapled to fence posts, plastered across the front door like a bureaucratic rash. My heart wasn't pounding from fear. It was pure boiling anger. My dad dies, leaves the place to me, and now some busybody thinks she can just take it. No way. I slammed my truck door so hard the windows rattled and stormed up to rip the nearest sign down, and that's when the workers showed themselves. Like they'd been waiting for me. 3 guys in safety vests, hard hats, all with clipboards and the "don't mess with me" look. And behind them, here comes Martha Stone, late 50s, perfect navy blazer hair that looked like it had never met a gust of wind. "Sir, please step away from the preservation notices," she called all fake customer service, but the kind that's more threat than invitation. "This property is under a temporary preservation order due to safety concerns regarding abandoned structures." Abandoned. I've been gone 3 years caring for my dying mother, and suddenly my family's land is abandoned. The anger was almost a physical thing, but I forced myself to stay calm. Mom deserved better than seeing me arrested scattering her ashes. I showed Martha my ID, explained about Mom. She looked at it for maybe half a second, handed it back with this smile that didn't touch her eyes. "I'm Martha Stone with Community Preservation Services. We're contracted by the county for safety assessments." Meanwhile, the workers were poking around, measuring, snapping pictures of the porch Dad built to last forever. One of them even tried the front door like he was shopping for a new house. I stepped up, fists clenched, but Martha just raised her clipboard. "Sir, any interference will be reported to the county sheriff." She handed me a packet thick enough to choke a horse: property preservation notice, QR codes, 24-hour response window, blah, 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 legalese meant to make you feel powerless. I barely had time to scan the first page before I spotted something in the gravel: a key. Dad's workshop key, the one he always kept separate. It had a paper label wrapped in ancient tape: bridge emergency only. No idea what he meant, but Martha was already calling out, "You have 24 hours to respond, or this property will be secured for public safety." She and her crew packed up, radio crackling as they left Phase 1 complete. "Begin interior assessment." If I'd been thinking, that would have scared me more than her warnings. I spent that night in the kitchen, old wood Mom's lavender sachets, dialing every lawyer I could find. Voicemail busy signals sky-high retainers. I was about to give up when my phone rang. Danny Walsh, Mountain Legal Services voice, like he knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't waste time on pleasantries. He already knew about the 24-hour window, said he specialized in land use emergencies. File a proper objection before they can claim default judgment, he said. And for the first time, I felt a little hope. Danny rolled in an hour later, sharp suit briefcase full of forms, paperwork, already matching the stuff Martha handed me. "They're aggressive, but not invincible," he said, spreading out documents on the kitchen table. The limited power of attorney looked standard enough, but something about his insistence bugged me. Still, I signed. What choice did I have? "We'll file today, stop immediate action, then prep a response to challenge their order," he said, texting Deputy Mills to make sure everything was official. Mid-morning, my neighbor Helen Parker stopped by just to check in, she claimed. Helen's the local eyes and ears, 15 years of knowing every car that comes and goes. She glanced at Danny's sedan and said, "Saw that car here before different weeks." Danny brushed it off, said he'd consulted on several properties nearby. Helen just gave him this look like she was trying to see through him. She leaned in when he stepped outside, whispered, "Your dad always said this bridge holds our secrets." Made me think maybe Dad really had a plan for this mess. Mail carrier Nora dropped by too. "Cabin's not abandoned," she huffed. "I've been forwarding mail here for years. Insurance tax notices someone's been keeping up. That kind of first-hand proof matters more than 100 forms." But things started getting weird. I caught Martha and Danny whispering on the edge of the property later that day. The workers came back with more gear, timber gauges, thermal scanners, creeping up to the porch but never crossing the threshold. Danny's phone kept buzzing. "We'll address any overreach in our filing," he said, but his voice didn't sound like reassurance anymore. Then the kicker, Helen, cornered me, nervous for the first time I'd seen her. "She did this same thing to the Petersons in 19, Helen whispered. "Took their place with the same orders, the same timelines, lost their land in 6 months. She pulled out photos, Martha, with men in suits surveying maps, financial docs. Your dad filed historical preservation papers in 95, said someone like her would come after this land." I started to realize this was way bigger than bureaucratic harassment. The next day I saw it with my own eyes. Danny's sedan parked next to Martha's truck. They were talking, pointing at survey stakes. My stomach dropped. I snapped a photo with my phone, marched right up. "Interesting place for a legal consult," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Danny didn't even flinch. "Nothing personal, Robert, just a business opportunity." Martha looked like she'd won the lottery. "You signed the paperwork. Everything is legal. That power of attorney wasn't to help me, it was to help them take my rights. My lawyer was working for the other side." That night, Martha held a community meeting at the center, pitching herself as the guardian of fire safety and property values. I tried to speak up, explain that the cabin wasn't abandoned, but she just redirected. "Personal hardships don't eliminate community responsibilities," she intoned, and neighbors nodded like bobbleheads. She isolated me completely. No support. By the time I got home, I was more alone than I'd ever been. Then Nora handed me an envelope meant for Danny Walsh Mountain Vista Development Group, talking about acquisition timelines and neutralizing property owner resistance. Legal misdirection, they called it. That's corporate speak for lying and stealing. The 48-hour hearing deadline was breathing down my neck when I finally cracked Dad's code about the bridge. His emergency stash under the supports geological surveys, mining claims dating back to the 1840s legal records that made my property federally protected. That land wasn't just sentimental, it was a legal fortress. And Martha was after the water rights. I found camera footage in Dad's old mining shack, recordings of Martha and Danny weeks before I came back, plotting the whole operation. Even a video of a developer saying water rights alone are worth $20 million. The Miller property controls it all. No wonder they wanted me out. I brought all of it to the hearing. The community center was packed, neighbors, federal marshals in the back. Martha and her lawyers up front, smug as ever. She started her pitch, but I plugged in Dad's laptop, played the footage of Danny surveying the land months before he offered to help me. You could feel the room turn. Helen shouted, "She's selling our water." The place exploded, neighbors demanding answers, Martha unraveling. Then the kicker, a video of Martha and Danny forging signatures on preservation orders. The feds stepped in right there, arrested both of them for mail fraud and conspiracy. Martha went nuts, ripped out power cords, screaming about perfection and ungrateful neighbors. By the time the dust settled, Danny was revealed as a professional fraudster wanted across 3 states. My rights were restored. The corporate scheme collapsed overnight. But Martha escaped federal custody, took off in a contractor truck loaded with gear and those blasted orange signs, heading straight for Peterson Creek. The chase that followed her truck burning brakes, flying down the mountain, ended in a crash that should have killed her but didn't. Emergency crews pulled her from the wreckage, still shouting about community perfection. Social media lit up with videos of her meltdown, her empire of fear reduced to a punchline. Federal investigators authenticated Dad's documents, uncovered a conspiracy of illegal federal land sales going back decades. Martha's operation just the tip of the iceberg. Now the feds were coming for the corporate lawyers, the county officials, anyone who signed off on those deals. Restitution indictments, the whole 9 yards. Our community came together, burned the last orange sign in a bonfire, rebuilt the porch with Dad's foundation, honored Mom at the bridge. Even Tommy, the kid who was manipulated by Martha for a few $1,000, got his mom's cancer treatment covered thanks to neighbors who finally understood what community really means. So yeah, what started as a fight to keep my parents' cabin became a federal showdown, exposing crooks who thought they could buy their way around the law. My family's legacy is safe for now, but Dad left a USB drive labeled for the grandkids. I haven't opened it yet. Some stories can wait. The lesson: never underestimate the power of ordinary people standing up for what's right. Ever had your trust betrayed by someone you counted on? Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about real justice, not just the kind that comes with a badge. And if you made it this far, hit share. Some battles aren't just about land. They're about who we are and who we want to be long after the orange signs are gone.